we were all hoping for what I think is what would be really awesome if the streaming platforms could serve as a repository for all of these films, if they could be more widely available for people. But you always end up at this question, which I would want to ask as a final question to all of you, which is, I mean, is it even possible to do something meaningful with African cinema under consumer capitalism? Is everything always doomed to being commodified, to being mass produced, and to being exploitative? Or as Dylan was mentioning earlier, are there pathways opening up? And if so, where are they and what are they? And is streaming one of them? And if it is, what needs to happen for it to be an effective one?
Well, I'll say yes. I mean, Netflix is not the only streaming out there, and they won't be the last. In fact, I think we're going to see a lot more streaming sites popping up over time, especially now due to like the high popularity of Netflix. Like they had like 60 million new subscribers only in the first quarter of 2020 because of lockdowns. So I think there'll be more players in the game, and there actually need to be more players in the game. And I look at something like, and Sean, you remind me, there was a new, you told me about, there's a new streaming service that was specifically showing leftist content, and that their focus is
Means TV. Yeah.
Means TV in the US. There's an art house cinema streaming service called Mubi, which you guys probably heard of, MUBI. I mean, I think if we could have an African version of a Mubi, that would be great. And because Netflix
challenge accepted.
Everything, right? Yeah, and so that's what I would like to see.
Yeah, I think even to somewhat venture outside of the streaming realm, I think something that Usman Bennett did is he really got into filmmaking initially because he was initially an author and he felt his books weren't reaching enough people. So one of the ways he distributed his films once he started making films, I think he used to have a traveling cinema, and he used to like riding on a bike and travel to different villages and showing his films. And I think there's a company, Sunshine Cinema, which kind of does the same work in terms of they have a traveling cinema that like operates outside of a solar powered box. And I think something like that is quite interesting in terms of how do you take work and reach it to the people who it isn't reaching to, instead of putting money to maybe enhance networks or data packages, you can actually take those content and directly show it to these communities that it isn't reaching, who would benefit from these things being shown.
Sarah, you have the last word.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of possibility for distribution and for whether niche markets or more entertainment cinema. I think with the younger generations and with new filmmaking, I think with like filmmakers like, I'm going to say Alain Gomis again, filmmakers like this, they're working with local communities, he in France, and with immigrant communities, and with, helping to learn filmmaking. I'm thinking of Basek Bakobio in Cameroon, who has, developed this Écran Noir festival, which has really generated a lot of industry, new filmmakers, new directors, new actors. And I think, so I think that there's a lot of possibility. So to get out of that Hollywood niche too.
On that, I mean, I think it's up to you guys. I'm gonna give the challenge to you guys to figure out how to make these possibilities an actuality. And on that note, thank you so much for
maybe we should build that art house streaming service that
yeah, stay. We'll have a quick meeting afterwards.
Anyway, we want to transition to somebody who's actually done some of this kind of work. So we want to thank our panel.